Today, I am so excited to be here. 100 Day Unleashing My Superpowers. 40 women across the globe sharing their stories, how they've navigated a male-dominated work environment. Today, I have the pleasure to introduce to you a phenomenal leader. All the way from the US. She's a global speaker, she is an author, she is a journalist, she's a business executive, podcast host. Please welcome Anne Doyle. Anne Doyle's career started as a trailblazing TV news and sports broadcaster in the 1970s and 1980s. She's well known for all her leadership speaking engagements. Today I want you to listen to her story about her epiphany moment. But most importantly, when do you know this is the time to move in your career? When do you actually make a decision to move on? I will share what I actually do. If I feel my mission and an organizational mission are not aligned, I know it is time to move. If I feel I'm not making much of an impact, or rather, my talents are not 100% recognized, then I know that it is time to move. Today, you're gonna hear the key strategies to achieve in your work environment. Please welcome Anne Doyle. Thank you. Please, can you just take us through your career to be where you are as a successful woman?
Well, I want to begin, Patience, by talking about this incredible network of women leaders that you and I are both part of, which is the International Women's Forum. That's how you and I connected. And it was started 47 years ago to connect women who were leaders and at the top of their professions when there were so few women. And the interesting thing back then is that, they were so alone, the lonely leaders at the top. And so there was this understanding that they needed to have a way to connect these women so that they could have allies and they could have peers, because no matter your level of leadership, even the most accomplished women need support, need allies, need peers who are operating at that same level that they can talk through their challenges with, because regardless of your level of accomplishment, you always have challenges. A mother, and I think that's a very, very important leadership laboratory. And that we should claim those skills, because the mothering skills are all about human development.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely a mother as well. And today I host two podcasts. And I think the podcast and where I am amplifying the voices of women from all over the world.
What are some of your turning points in your career that actually escalated your career, your breakthrough? Like, I'll call them the epiphany moments.
Of course, one of my epiphany moments was standing outside those locker rooms, not just the first time, but over and over and over again. Literally standing outside those locker rooms as a young female sports reporter, all alone, practically hyperventilating, as I was trying to force myself to find the courage to force myself to walk through those doors and face whatever was waiting for me on the other side. And I knew there would be trouble waiting for me on the other side. And, but I also, I had to have a conversation with myself, basically saying, Anne, you have to walk through that door or you have to walk away and quit this job. You can't do both. And there's a chapter in my book called Drink at Dangerous Waters. And Drink at Dangerous Waters is the leadership skill of when those moments come, and you all will have them. there's a moment when you stand there and you know this is really hard, what's going to happen next. And you have to have a conversation with yourself, and you have to swallow hard and put your shoulders back and say, I'm going to do this, or else you walk away and you miss that opportunity. So I also like to say, you know, when opportunity knocks, open the door and let her in. So that would be one. Another one, I really want to say that motherhood has been a defining moment for me.
Yeah.
And I also want to say that it is the only time in my life, I've had some very, very difficult jobs and challenging jobs where often I was not wanted and had to fight my way in and prove that I belonged there and earn my place. But I never really felt as if I would fail. I felt like I had the abilities, and if I worked hard, that I could succeed. But motherhood is the only time that I ever felt at times that I might fail. And I want to say that because it's very difficult. And I was also a single mother. I went through a divorce when my son was very, very young, and his father died when he was 7. And so I pretty much raised him very much by myself. And it's hard to be a parent, and and it's hard to be a mother and a professional woman as well. And I want to really encourage women and to basically say, I know it's hard. It is hard. You can do it. And the skills that you are learning and using there belong on your resume. And for you know, men are always putting their military experience and their sports experience, you know, on their resumes as if these are, you know, very valuable skills that translate over to the business and professional world. And absolutely, the work of human development and the conflict management and all the pieces that are related to that belong on your resume. It's just how you put it there. So I would also say that that is a very, very important defining moment. And the third piece that I would say is I'm a perfect example of a woman who has moved frequently. People kind of look at my resume and say, you are all over the place. And for me, it was a natural evolution, but it was also about understanding when you're done with a situation, when you're done. And so, you know, many, many times, women in particular are more likely to stay in jobs too long, stay in jobs where they're not fulfilled, stay in jobs where they're not paid equally with men, stay in jobs where they're not being promoted at the same speed as peers who they know are not as talented as they are. And I really want to encourage women to take the risk to leave. And, you know, when you're starting to feel that way, and your gut will tell you when you've lost the joy, when you lose the joy of the work, that's when you have to ask yourself, is this worth fighting through? And that you believe that it's worth it, and that you can get through this, and that you will continue to advance, and that your talents are appreciated and paid fairly. Or are you pounding your head against a brick wall? And you need to listen to yourself because your gut will tell you. And when you know that you're pounding yourself against a brick wall and that you are not valued and you're not appreciated, take the risk and leave. There will always be something bigger and better for you. It's scary. I have done it. It's not easy. Every transition is difficult, but every time you do it, it's like weightlifting. Every time you lift those weights, you lift a little heavier and heavier, and you get stronger and stronger. And it's always worth it. And there's always something better waiting for you. So do not waste your talents in places where you are not paid equitably and advanced into leadership roles to match your talents. Keep moving.
Intimidation, being talked over, being undermined, and sexual and discrimination, purely discrimination. Those are
Yeah.
the major challenges, the barriers that the women are facing. Maybe you can comment on that.
It's very discouraging to me when I continue to hear, and I know you're hearing this from young women, complaining about men talking over them and not being paid equally and all these things that have been the same for 40 years. And, we're making a big mistake if we are waiting for men to change this. Men are not going to change this. The only ones who are going to change this are women. And we can't do it individually alone.
Yeah.
We have to do it collectively.
Yeah.
And once we begin to leverage our collective power, because it's now there, but women are in kindergarten in terms of understanding how to leverage our collective power. And that is how, when we are going to change things, that is how women are going to get paid equally. That is how we're going to get equal numbers of women in elected office and in leadership and in boardrooms and all the places that needs to be. Is that, and I have an expression that says, one of my mantras is, every woman for herself is a losing strategy. Yes, be ambitious. Yes, work hard. But you know that there's a wonderful African proverb that I love. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We have a long, long way to go. And we as women must go together. And once we lock arms and collectively start using our collective power, there are plenty of male allies who will come with us.
Oh, and I just feel so blessed. This is gonna be so helpful to so many women. Because right now for me, this is an aha moment. This is an epiphany moment for me. You've just reinforced the message about, somebody said the males created the organizations, then they created the rules of these organizations, and they are the majority, especially in male dominated workplaces, and then you are coming in, you are the minority. Just if you can just summarize the three leadership strategies that women can use, or learn from you to succeed in a male dominated work environment, what would you say those are?
One of the things I'd like to share with women is a leadership skill that is unique to women. And I wrote about it in my book.
Yeah.
And it's a word that I created, and I hope it ends up in the dictionary someday. And it's called womaninity, in terms of embrace your womaninity. And what I mean by that is, I like to say that womaninity is to masculinity as Ms. is to Mr. Because femininity is not really a parallel word to masculinity, because femininity is really about our softer side.
Yes.
But we need a word that captures, that describes a woman who is comfortable in her own skin and tapping into all of the powers of her as an individual and her gender. And that is womaninity. And, so I want women to shed all of this cultural baggage about looking to men for our models of leadership. And so I really encourage women to basically, yes, we can learn from men, but look to the women leaders, and there are lots of them now. Look to the women leaders. Kamala Harris, Senator Kamala Harris, perhaps could be the first woman president of the United States of America. Um, who knows? But there's a very good chance. I mean, I'm hoping at the time I'm talking to you that she will be elected our vice president. And if that's the case, I think there's a very good chance she could eventually become our first woman president. But there's many, many, many. And she epitomizes the grace and the strength of womaninity. So I would say that. I already talked about that skill called drink at dangerous waters. Uh, that is that ability when you are tested to find the courage within yourself to go ahead and take that step and move forward. And that parallel is about it's the idea of in the jungle there's a watering hole, and all of the animals, in order to survive, must go to that watering hole in order to drink. And that means the gazelles with the lions. And it's dangerous, but it's dangerous to drink at those dangerous waters, but you can't survive if you don't. And you will never survive as a leader if you don't find the strength to drink at dangerous waters when you're tested. And the last thing that I would say is raise your voice. Raise your voice. And, you know, we've been talking for decades about women kind of finding their voices. And now we have to have the strength to raise our voice.
Thank you so much, Anne.
Congratulations on your work. And I will look forward to seeing your work as it is born.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Anne. Thank you.